Damn. Yeah.
Alright, hello everyone, and for today's video we're gonna cover consumer mathematics insurance. This topic is under Form 5 Chapter 3. Now for the topic coverage, risk insurance, calculation of insurance premiums, life insurance, motor insurance, deductible, co-insurance for property insurance as well as health insurance. Now what is risk? Risk is the possibility of a disaster that cannot be avoided, such that it is unpredictable and also involves loss. Risks may include getting injured during a football game, falling down the stairs. It may also include weather changes that can cause accidents, for instance. Now, insurance. Insurance is a signed contract between the policyholder and the insurance company. The amount of compensation payable to the policyholder is only the amount of the loss suffered, also known as the principle of indemnity. What this means is that, for instance, let's say our compensation payable is 300, the insurance company itself cannot pay anything beyond 300. It only can pay anything less or equal to 300 but not anything beyond it. So that is the principle of indemnity right there. Now on this image you can see that the policyholder will pay a particular premium set amount to the insurance company, and when the policyholder faces any sort of accident that may cause risk, that's the scenario where the insurance company pay the compensation for any of the loss incurred to the policyholder back. In other words, this means that insurance is a way to minimize the financial burden incurred to the policyholder. Now, insurance. There are many types of insurance. For this topic, we're going to cover these few: life insurance and general insurance, motor insurance, fire insurance, medical health insurance, personal accident insurance, travel insurance, as well as group insurance. Now, for the first one, life insurance. The risks covered are death, loss ability, as well as critical illness. Life insurance, the main motive is to provide financial protection to family members who depend on the policyholder when the policyholder dies. And another scenario would be when the policyholder did not actually die, but however faces loss abilities, disabilities, or critical illness. In that scenario, the policyholder will also can have life insurance as well. Motor insurance. Now, motor insurance is to cover against any loss or damage related to the use of a motor vehicle. Right. So when we talk about motor insurance usually will involve three particular parties. The first party will be the policyholder. Right. Policyholder also could mean the driver of the vehicle itself. The second party would be the insurance company, as well as the third party will be any other individuals that are caused by the driver, excluding the passenger themselves. One moment. Caused by the driver. There we go. Now, you look at this table right here. As you can see, the three parties: due to injury or death, property suffered by third party, loss to own vehicle due to accidental fire or theft, and loss and damage to own vehicle due to a particular incident. We have three main policies right here: the third party fire and theft, and the comprehensive policy. Now we're going to learn how to calculate for all these three policies right here. Now let's move on, and then let's give an example of a motor insurance. Let's say for a scenario we have three people. So for instance, so here we have the driver right here will be Lee, and then the passenger will be Lin. Alright, Lee, and then maybe we have a third person. The person that would be Lan. Alright. In a scenario where Lee, the driver, suddenly crashed into Lan's car, that's where the tree will be damaged, and then their car will also be damaged as well. right? So there's a crash involved. Alright, so in this scenario, who is liable? Who's the one that's gonna insure the policy itself? Let's say for Lee gonna insure the car under comprehensive policy right here. Under this comprehensive policy, it will cover, for instance, injury and car damage. Alright, car damage claimed by the third party. The third party, who is the third party? That would be LAN right here. Third party would be LAN, as well as loss and damage. Loss damage of Lee's car. There you go. So in this scenario, as I mentioned, to reiterate, Lee will insure his car under the comprehensive policy right here, and then it will cover the injury and car damage claimed by the third party, which is LAN, also as the loss or damage of Lee's car right here. So that's an example of a motor insurance. Now we move on to fire insurance. Fire insurance provides coverage against damage caused by fires, lightning, and explosion that occur at home or at a business premise. Additional coverage may be imposed by the policyholder, such as hurricanes, riots, or floods. Now, for medical health insurance, risk cover due to deteriorating health. Right? The first one, life insurance, is all about death scenarios. This one is about deteriorating health. For example, hospitalization and surgical insurance, critical illness insurance, disability income insurance, and as well as hospital income insurance. Next, personal accident insurance. Personal accident insurance is to provide coverage for the policyholder suffering from a bodily injury, disability, or death caused solely by violent, accidental, external, and internal events. Now, you must be wondering, what are the differences between personal accident insurance, life insurance, as well as medical health insurance? Here is an image about to note the differences between all these three insurance. For more information, you can look at this source URL right here. Travel insurance. Travel insurance is to protect policyholder against losses during travel, whether by land, air, or sea, and the losses may include death, permanent disability, loss of luggage is also one of them by the way, passport and money, and medical expenses as well. Now for group insurance provides coverage to a group of individuals such as organization, so group insurance for organization, financial protection to employees in the event of death, disability, hospitalization, and surgery. Group insurance for pupils, financial protection to pupils or students in the events of death, paralysis, disability, and wheelchair allowance right here. Now, let's move on to how to calculate a premium for the life insurance. So here is a formula we can use to calculate the premium for life insurance. Premium equals to face value of policy divided by this particular X amount times the premium rate per M, right? So how do we do this particular formula? Let's look at the question first. For any question relating to calculating premium for life insurance, usually they'll give you this table. This table is where they will give you the particular premium percentage rate right here, all this right here, and another will be the face value. So these two figures usually will be given to you, and all you need to do is answer accordingly. For this particular sample question, this guy wants to buy an insurance policy worth 100,000 ringgit. As well, and as you can see, the question tells you his age, healthy, and a non-smoker. So you can, based on the question, do it accordingly. Now, let's look at this particular question. And alright. So, as I mentioned, we need to look at 1,000 ringgit face value, and then 39 years old, you're healthy and non-smoker. So what you'll do first thing first is, as I mentioned, 39 years old, healthy non-smoker, 39 years old, healthy non-smoker. That means the premium rate will be this guy right here. Alright. So, and now we need to calculate the annual premium for Mr. Guang. Alright. So let's do that. Mr. Guang's annual premium. Okay, so it will be the face value over 100,000 right here, divided by the face value 1,000 ringgit times the premium rate 2.49, RM 2.49. There you go. The final answer would be, let me calculate. So RM 249 ringgit. There you go, and that's your answer for I right here. Now let's move on to number 2. Alright, so as I mentioned, first Manager Shapua is 36 years old, healthy and non-smoker. Buy an insurance policy worth of 250,000 ringgit and want to add on a critical illness policy. So we'll do an extra step right here. We'll cover 30% of basic face value and premium rate is 1.77, alright, per 1,000 ringgit. Now, first thing first, as per usual, is finding the premium rate. So it says here, 36-year-old, healthy, non-smoker, female. There you go, 1.50 right here, alright? So, next, premium rate equals 1 ringgit 50, okay? So next will be the total coverage. Before calculating annual premium, we need to cover the coverage for critical illness policy first. So let's do that. Total coverage of critical illness. Okay, so that will be 30% of basic face value, so 30 over 100 right here, times the insurance policy worth 250,000. That will be 175,000 ringgit. Of course, we are not done yet. We need to find the annual premium. Okay, so annual premium. Annual premium would be, we need to calculate the annual premium for critical illness as well as annual premium for the basic one. Alright, so annual basic premium, that would be 250,000 over 1,000. Remember your formula, times 1.50. We mentioned here that we need to find 1.50. There you go, that's the premium rate, 1.50 now, and then plus this 75,000 right here, 75,000 over 1,000 times our premium rate mentioned here is 1.77. Alright, so the final figure before that, it would be, so the first one, 250,000 or 1,000 times 1.50 would be 375 ringgit plus, if I'm not mistaken, 132.75. There you go. And then we plus these two together, we should get the annual premium of 507 ringgit and 25 cents right there. There you go. That will be our final result, and we calculate, and then we are done with this particular question. Now moving on. Alright, so we have done calculating premium for life insurance. Now we have to calculate premium for motor insurances. For this topic, we need to take note of a few things, right? So the first thing is the table right here. For this table, in your test, if they don't give you this table, you cannot do any topic related to this particular calculating premium for motor insurances. This table was taken as a source mentioned schedule of motor tariff 2015. In your test, they may be giving you a different table with updated figures. For instance, motor tariff 2020, for instance. For our sample, for our examples, we're going to use the particular table, motor tariff 2015. Now the next thing will be the Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah Sarawak. Yes, they have different calculation and different figures. You need to just be aware of that as well. Now next will be the formula. The formula again, Peninsular Malaysia as well as Sabah Sarawak, two different formulas. The first thing you need to take note of is rate for first 1,000 right here. Alright, what does that mean? That means you have to take the figure based on the table. Find the figure based on the table. Is it for comprehensive policy or third parties policy? Is it on Peninsular Malaysia, for instance. Now we're going to show you a sample question for that. Next would be 26 ringgit for each 1000 ringgit or part thereof on where exceeding the first 1000 ringgit. So what that particularly means, so just to give you a sample idea, so for instance, right here, let's say your value to be x. Let's say we have this x value, if you're wondering what the x figure is, we're going to show you in an example. So what this entire statement means, this entire statement right here, it should be 26, as you can say, Rm26 times x minus 1000 over 1000. So what do I mean by this? Now let's look at an example. Alright, so we have a sample example right here. Inchit Ramli owns and uses Proton Exora 1.6 in Peninsular Malaysia. There you go. The question will usually give you is it Peninsular Malaysia or Sabah Sarawak, and then sub-insured, age of vehicle, engine capacity, and NCD. NCD refers to no claim discount. And usually the question will ask you about gross premium for under the comprehensive policy, third party, fire and theft policy, as well as third party policy for question relating to this particular topic. Now let's look at the question and do this question right here. Alright, so look at this question. We have got a table, we got a formula as well. The formula will not be given in the test for your information right here. Only the table as well as the question. Now in Peninsular Malaysia, we need to calculate gross premium for under comprehensive policy first, third party policy and fire theft policy, as well as third party policy. Let's look at comprehensive policy. Alright, so the first thing you will do is find the rate for the first 1000 ringgit. There you go. So what do you do about this is look at the table, this column, as well as engine capacity right here. Engine capacity 1600 cc. Alright, 1600, that means it's this guy right here. All these figures you can think it as less than or equal to all these figures. So that means 1660 less than 1650. So we take this figure right here. If for a scenario, if the 1000 instead of 1600 is to 2000, alright, 2000, that means we're gonna take this scenario right here. Understand? Okay, so let's list that down. Alright, so the first 1000 ringgit, 1000 ringgit is equal to Rm 305 ringgit and 50 cents. Alright, that's the part A. Now part B. Part B what? Part B should be writing this star right here. This guy right here. There you go. Okay, so sure. 26 ringgit, as I mentioned, you saw the formula. So 26 ringgit or what? It's referring to this guy, sum insured. 60,000 right here, 60,000. Now what do I mean by that? So 60,000 will be your X value as shown. Alright, so that means what you need to do is M26 times 60,000 minus 1,000 over 1,000. Alright, in other words, this final figure would be Rm 1534. Okay, now 1500, so that's your answer for the second part B. Now for second C, now we have A and B already. We can finally do our basic premium. So let's list that down. Basic premium will be equal to A plus B. A plus B. This your answers from part A as well as answer from part B. In other words, this will be Rm 1839, yeah, and 50 cents. There you go. So that's your basic premium. You have finally done your basic premium. Now we need to calculate NCD. NCD right here, 25%. Oops, 25%. There you go, SCD 25%, SCD percentage. Alright. In other words, that will be, take your basic premium figure 1839.50 times your 25 over 100. Alright. In other words, that will be IM 459 ringgit and 88 cents. Alright. Lastly, now E, you can finally calculate your gross premium as what the question wants. Alright. Gross premium. Alright. So gross premium, what is that? That will be 1809.50 ringgit and then minus 459 right here over these two right here. Alright. So you minus C minus D, you will get RM 1379.62 cents. There goes it, 1379 ringgit and 62 cents. Now, if you are familiar with how percentages work, and you want to be quick, instead of calculating D right here, here's a tip for you. You can immediately calculate from C to E. You still need your basic premium, you still need to do your A, you still need to do your B, you still need to do your C, but you can remove D. Instead, you can immediately jump to E and then do something like this. So instead of calculating 25%, right, what you can do is 1839.50 and then times 1 minus 0.25. There you go. Where is 0.25 came from? This guy right here. Alright. So instead, because this will be 75%, right? So you 1839 ringgit and 50 cents times 75%, you will still get this particular figure right here. You still get this particular figure you times 75%. So that's a quick tip for you. Instead of calculating this, slowly calculate it and then minus it, right? You can just immediately 1 minus 0.25 and then calculate times 75. There you go. Now, okay, so now we need to calculate the gross premium for third-party fire and theft policy right here. Alright, so the first thing you actually need is, for your information, is your basic premium from the comprehensive policy. Alright, so let me list down that. Basic premium from comprehensive. Alright, comprehensive policy. Alright, so that would be your 1839 ringgit and then 50 cents. Okay, so now we can move on to calculate basic premium. Alright, basic premium for this particular third-party fire theft policy, that would be your figure from here to times your 75%. Okay, now and that answer would be RM 1379.63. Okay, so now you might be wondering where this 75% came about. Alright, this 75%, take note of this. Alright, when you do any question related to third-party fire theft policy and to calculate the basic premium, this figure is not given anywhere. This figure not given in the table and not given in the question. So this is something you just need to be aware of. This is something you need to be aware of, and then any sort of question related to this topic, you remember to times 75%. This is something you need to be absolutely aware of. Now, B, oops, one moment. Okay, so right here, B. Okay, so you can calculate your NCD percentage, right? NCD percentage would be your 25%. Yeah, over here, same thing. 0.25 times your basic premium right here, 1379.63, and that would be RM 344.91, 344 ringgit and 91 cents. Alright, so now for C, your gross premium. Okay, so gross premium, again, as I mentioned before, two methods. Either you immediately calculate times 75% with your basic premium value right here, your basic premium value, or just minus from your SCD percentage, right? For this question, let's do that. Let's minus our SCD percentage. So 1,309, 1,369.63 minus 344.91. That would be, the final answer would be 1,034 ringgit. 1,034 ringgit and 72 cents. There you go. So for this question, I did the normal minus the SCT percentage right here, right? And just minus immediately. For the next question, let's do it with times 25%. Okay. So now, so for the last one is third party policy right here. Okay. So third party policy. All right. So instead what we did previously, the first thing you do is again look at your Peninsular Malaysia, your engine capacity 1000 cc, 1750, and for third party policy right here, that will be 135 ringgit. Alright, so basic premium A, that's the thing you do for third party policy. Basic premium will be 135 ringgit right here. Okay, now next B, you can find your SCD value, but instead I'm not going to do that. I just immediately going to find your gross premium. Alright, gross premium would be 135 times 1 minus 0.25. As you can see, your 25%, right? So that means 135 ringgit times 75 over 100. Alright, that answer would be the final answer, 101 ringgit and 25 cents. There you go. You have finally calculated all three policies: your comprehensive, your third party invited policy, and your third party policy. Alright, so that's all. Now let's move on to deductible. Deductible is an amount that is borne by the policyholder before making a claim from the insurance company. What this actually means, we're going to explain in the question. Found in the contract of property insurance, medical and health insurance, and motor insurance. Now, how do you calculate deductible questions? Here, usually, deductible question you have few things you can take off. Questions will always give you the deductible value. That's the deductible value you're going to use it. And then most questions with deductible topics, right? They'll be asking you about the losses suffered in a particular scenario. In this question, March, July, August, 2,800 ringgit, 250 ringgit, and 400 ringgit. Alright, and then you need to make the claim or amount of compensation required for this particular, in this scenario, in this question, this particular 3 months. Alright, so now let's do this question. Alright, so as I mentioned, deductible provision of 300 ringgit right here, 300 ringgit, and then March, July, August, all this, take the amount of compensation as well as take claim. Alright, all this stuff. Now, as I mentioned, deductible would be your 300 ringgit. Alright, so we can write that down if you want to. So one moment. Oops. One moment right here. Deductible equals to RM 300 ringgit. Okay, so now you can now calculate for each March, July, August the amount of compensation as well as the payment statement. Alright, for March you can do something like this. For March, that will be, so since the loss is greater, that means that 300 is less than 2,800 ringgit. 2,800 ringgit is greater than 300, that means your loss is less than your particular insurance coverage. Alright, losses suffered. So in that scenario, your Madam Filer in this question can get a claim. So you claim it yes and get amount compensation from the company. Now for March, so 2,800 ringgit. So let me say here 2,800 ringgit. RM is greater than RM 300, meaning you can take a claim. Yes, claim. Alright, and lastly, you can do your compensation amount compensation. Compensation would be 2,800 ringgit minus 300, and that would be 2,400 ringgit right here. There go your RM. Alright, so that's for March. And for July and August, you do the same thing as well. So let us write down all of that as well. July. Alright, and then as well as August. Alright, so let's say for July. Alright, so 2,800. So July is loss would be 250 ringgit is less than 300, meaning that means your 250 ringgit is your loss suffered is less than your 300 deductible value. In other words, you cannot get a claim. No claimant. Alright, no claimant. Lastly, and then compensation is none. You can write for this section, you can write either equals to none, or you can also write 0, for instance. 0. I am 0. Alright. So for August. Alright. For August, that will be 400 ringgit. Alright. 400 ringgit is greater than 300 ringgit. Meaning you can get a compensation amount as well as a claimant. Yes. Yes, claimant. Alright. And luckily for compensation, alright, would be your RM 400 ringgit minus 300 ringgit, and that would be 100 ringgit right here. There you go. And that's an example question of deductible value. Alright, so now let's move on to the final part, is coinsurance. Alright, so coinsurance is the cost of the loss between the insurance company, between insurance and the policyholder. So for our topic, we're going to cover two parts of insurance. Property insurance, the policyholder is required to insure his property at a certain amount based on the co-insurance percentage determined by the insurance company from the insurable value of the property. What this means, we'll look at the question, right? Health insurance. Policyholder is required to bear a portion of the medical costs covered by a contract at the agreed rate after accounting the deductible provision. Again, look at the question, alright? Now, moving on, let's look at the question, example question for property insurance. Co-insurance or property insurance, alright? So for this question, for this topic, alright, there usually will have be three scenarios. There will be three scenarios, 1, 2, 3. These particular three scenarios right here, alright? So if the insured value equal to amount of required insurance, if the insured value is less than the amount of required insurance or suffer a total loss, the question will tell you whether either each scenario will be qualified. Alright, so accordingly, you do accordingly based on what the question specified. Alright, so now look at this question. Ismail want to buy fire insurance for his house. The insurable value of the house is 135 ringgit. Alright, want to buy a provision to insure 80% of the insurable value, deductible 2,000. For co-insurance topic, you need to take into account deductible value as well. And so let's move on to how we do the question. Alright, so insurable value of house 350 ringgit and 80% of insurable value and deductible 2,000 ringgit. Alright, so first thing we need to calculate insurance required. Alright, with co-insurance questions, for particularly insurance, property insurance, they will always ask you how to calculate the insurance amount required. Alright, they have nothing to do with this particular three states just yet. These three states, nothing to do with this part A question. Alright, so we first need to do this question first. Alright, so oops. So part A, we need to find the insurance required amount. So amount of required insurance. Now, which figure do we get? It will be 80% of the insurable value. This is the one thing they're asking. 80 over 100, then times 350,000, the insurable value of 350,000, as you can see here. So that's how you calculate your amount of required insurance. The answer will be 280,000 ringgit. Now, for B, for BI, right? We need to calculate amount of required insurance again. So we have a different scenario now. Encik Ismail house caught on fire, alright? Encik Ismail house caught on fire. Amount of loss is 25,000 ringgit. Calculate amount of compensation, alright? Receive a insured house at scenario 1. Amount of required insurance at scenario 2. At sum of 150,000 ringgit. Also, for this question, we need to calculate the co-insurance penalty. There's something special and unique to the question. Now, let's do that. Nothing too hard. Alright? So, for part BI, it says here that the amount of required insurance. This meaning, that means it's scenario 1. If the insured value based on the amount of loss is 225,000 ringgit, and the amount of required insurance is also the same thing. So we take scenario 1 right here. Alright? So amount of compensation equals to your amount of loss minus deductible. So your loss value is what? It will be 25,000 ringgit. 25,000 ringgit right here, as you can see. And then times your deductible figure, RM 2,000. Alright? Final answer would be 23,000 ringgit. There you go. And so you're done for part BI. Part BI done already. Alright? So now we need to move on to part B2. Part B2 will be this. Let me do this again. Insurance house is 350,000, 80% insurable value and deductible 2,000 ringgit. Amount loss 25,000 ringgit. Sum of 150,000. Calculate the co-insurance. Alright. Now, let me just list down the figure that we calculated last time for part A and part B1. Part A is required insurance. Alright. That will be RM 280,000 ringgit. Alright. Part B1, it will be the amount compensation for scenario 1, right? Scenario 1 right here. Scenario 1. So that for scenario 1, amount compensation 23,000 ringgit. Now, finally, we can start calculating our part B2 right here. First thing first, the question asking calculate amount of compensation that insured Asma will receive. We insure it out at the sum of 150,000 ringgit. Again, this 150,000 ringgit is the insured value right there. Insured value equals to RM 150,000 ringgit. 150,000 ringgit. It can also be amount insurance purchase. Okay, so they are referring to the same thing. Now, which scenario is referring to? Well, it's referring to scenario 2. Oops. Referring to scenario 2 right here. If the insured value is less than the amount required insurance, insured value 150,000, amount in required insurance, we actually discovered that it's 280,000 right here. So it's less than the amount, the statement is true, and that's why we take scenario 2, amount compensation. Alright. So amount of insurance purchase, as I mentioned, is this guy right here, 150,000 ringgit. Over amount of insurance, 280,000 ringgit. Times your amount of loss. Amount of loss is mentioned here, 25,000 right here. And then you minus your deductible value. We are actually using a deductible value finally. so 2000. And then for the answer would be, if for these two parts, first that would be 13,392 ringgit and 86 cents minus 2000, yeah, and then answer 11,392 ringgit and 86 cents. So we discovered our amount of compensation. However, the question is also asking us to find co-insurance penalty. So co-insurance penalty is very unique. I don't have much space, so let me just write it down here. Alright, penalty. Alright, so this for this formula, it will be your 13,386 ringgit here minus your 25,000, right here. So it amount of loss minus your the entire figure, right? This entire thing. So 25,000 minus 13,392.86 cents. Finally, the final answer for our co-insurance penalty will be 11,607 ringgit and 14 cents. Okay, so there you go. We will finally found the answer as per B2. Now the last part, let's find our C value instead. C value is very simple. It's actually just number 3. Why? Because it says here suffer a total loss. If the insurer has a sum of 200,000 ringgit, calculate the amount compensation. So compensation amount would be your amount insurance purchase. As I mentioned previously, your amount insurance purchase is your 200,000 ringgit. It mentioned here a sum 200,000 ringgit right here, minus your deductible value of 2,000. So your compensation loss amount for suffering a total loss is RM 198,000 ringgit. So just for this co-insurance for property insurance, yeah, this one right here will be something you need to take note of, and it takes a lot of steps for this particular scenario 2. Scenario 1 and scenario 3 is very simple, right? So now last part, co-insurance for health policy. So for health insurance 25. So here we have a question. The one thing you take note of is 25 like this split slash figure here. This one is actually referring to, let me just write it down, 25% of the cost bond of insurance company, and then another 25% would be the cost bond of policyholder. In this question, who is the policyholder? That would be Madam Chen right here. Okay, so now let's figure out how to solve this. Alright, so first let's list down the details from the question. Major medical insurance policy with deductible provision of 500 ringgit and 75/25 split co-insurance percentage participation. Cost bond by insurance company and Madam Chen if the medical cost covered by a policy is 20,600 ringgit. Alright, so the first thing you take note of to do this particular question in this topic is this particular formula. Take note of this. Medical cost after deductible. This one right here. So that will be 20,600 as mentioned here, minus your deductible amount 500 ringgit. That would be 20,000 ringgit 100. This is something you need to take note of. So yeah, this is something you do it every time for any question related to this co-insurance for health policy, medical policies. Alright, So now we can move on. We can move on to calculate 75% for insurance company. 75%. Let me see. Insurance company cost bond. Okay, cost bond would be your 75 over 100 times your figure right that you discovered 10,000 over, so the final amount will be 15,075 ringgit. There you go. So that's your insurance company cost bond for 75%. Now you have to calculate 25% for your policyholder. Policyholder is Madam Chen. Madam Chen cost bond. Alright. Madam Chen cost bond is 25% times your same thing, your 20,100 ringgit. But here's something to take note of. You have to plus back your deductible. Alright. So yeah, this is something again, as a formula you need to be aware of. Alright. So yeah. Alright, man. Okay. So the final answer would be 5,000 ringgit 525 cents. Sorry, 5,001 ringgit and 35 ringgit. Alright, so that's our final amount, and that's all the topics, all the subtopics for this particular chapter. That's a lot, it's a lot. So I hope that you all enjoyed watching for this particular video. That's all from me for today. If you would like to watch other videos, alright, if you would like to watch other videos, there will be other videos for you to watch on screen later. And I will appreciate if you can press the subscribe button of our YouTube channel, press our hit the notification bell to keep yourself posted whenever we release a new video. Alright, so thank you, have a great day.